and then you start adding now. Yes. Start adding here, 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 so on. Okay? Ready? This was finale. Okay? Okay, here you cut. Here you have to take all the drive inside. Quick one, kejap sampai tu. Okay. This one you know already. Like we don't start from we try not to start from boxes. Alright. Now you have knot. And you pick this. Okay. Start doing this. Start making it like that. Make sure the back you don't. This one depends on what character you want. Okay. You know what I mean? So decide you have to make sure everything works. Can you balik you sambung. Okay, now you render and see.
Yeah. Still haven't smooth.
Again?
Haven't smooth yet.
Yeah, you have to cover.
Scratch one,
Yeah.
a bit out, then a bit in, out, in, out.
So here, this part is not enough now. You cut lah. First you cut. Okay, now see the flow. Make sure this guy flows properly. Okay, then we cut. Outside here, cut first. Okay.
Then W,
Now,
then also by the
some maybe here.
jahit ke sana.
Yes. Can be done together with this. Maybe.
Jahit.
And this side, of course, we start molding it. Right? So this two, you see, and this up. Okay. That's how you do it. Go on.
Stage ke sana.
This is definitely not enough lah. You want to create ABCD, your base, all your vowels, alright? ABCD, AEIOU, alright? You don't need to go ABCD, AEIOU. That is the number one, right? After that, you can blend all that words. This is basic blending. You still have this with facial rigging, but then again, this one is completely following all your meshes around, your morphers, right? So AEIOU, and then you have expressions. AEIOU is just for the lips, right? And then you have expressions like, for instance, angry, surprised, sad, and then you want to have like confused, your, and so forth. All right, you smirk, and then it's a lot, 1001, depends. Don't be okay. If I am telling you, you have to learn moral, you have to learn this, blah blah blah, every single thing, but you are not learning. You're only using certain things, correct? So you want to use maths, you want to use science, you know. You don't really use moral. Moral, you have it as an understanding. So choose what you want to do. So if your production doesn't need, all that smoky and all that, why you want to waste your time? Understand? You can always add. All right, as long as your poly count doesn't increase in your morpher and your model. So what happens is, if this is my model, okay, I separated the head. So basically, if I off this, that's my original. Then I add. That's why I have edit poly to add both, and then I weld it. You know what I mean? If I don't weld it, I won't get a smooth character. So if I don't have this. You see this part, the joints. I have to make sure whichever part that I have already cut. All right. Maybe this part, I have to weld it one by one. Make sure it is all together. If it's not, then suddenly you see this part will be opened up. This part will be opened up. This connected. Alright, so you don't want to have that. That's why you weld it. Alright, if I don't have this, before I go here, before I weld it, first thing that I'll do is, normally I'll have a morpher, and this is where you can pick from, load multiple targets, or pick from object C. These are channels, alright. See, A, E, I, O, U, Bengali love you and all that. So, all this. So when you have all these slots here, this is where you add you put it in proper how you want to manage it. You manage it. Okay. After that, once you are happy with all your morphers, don't worry if you miss out, right? As long as you do like 1, 2, 3 or 2, 3, then if you want more, just add lah. Shift and pull and make sure you name it. Alright, if my character name is Rodin, means maybe you want to add like I don't know, so maybe extreme set, face, pull, stretch, or whatever you want to add, like the eye is coming out like a mask, for instance. You want to have the eye popping out and all that, and that's a different rig. So rigging is very subjective depending on what you want, right? So you add as long as you don't go and add or delete unnecessary things. Okay, so let's say you want to have this. Since we all know it's different story, we got our own techniques once you experience with it. But if you have like this guy here or this guy here, this one is different technique already. Okay, anyways, when you have all this, suddenly you go and add, maybe here you tercut, or this part you maybe had this, wrongly, your morpher doesn't work. That particular if sad, okay, if this face is called sad, that particular morpher for this won't work, because it doesn't have the same amount of vertices, same amount of topology and so forth, segments. That's what happens. Alright, so you have to make sure how that one goes. Alright, once you have modeled, you see I modeled in a very low poly. Alright, where's this head? I try to model in a very low poly. Then once I model in low poly, I will always add like a turbo smooth on top, or depends. Alright, I'll check with turbo smooth. Last time was more towards what they call mesh mode. Then mesh mode. Okay, there's two different things. Certain objects, turbo smooth works really well. Certain no. If let's say you want a specific model face to be smooth, but not the rest. The rest is quite high, only the face. You can also, example, choose the faces. Example, okay. I want only this. Oh, this guy is destroyed. I want this part to be smoothened, right? So make sure it is selected. Go to mesh mode. Okay. Everything now is it is smooth, but you only want that part to be smoothened, right? So what you can do is mesh mode. You can wait. It's been quite some time. I never used mesh mode for a long time. So that's why. You see this apply to the whole mesh. Off. Only that specific face polygon will be smoothened out in. Okay. Right. The others is not. So basically, if I off on, the others will be smoothened, but it's not as smooth as only that specific polygon. The others is smooth, you know, that smooth that we use, the hard surface on that one. It will apply that smooth. You know what I mean? So you can, of course, you can add the amount of iterations, 2, 3, 4, 5 until it blasts. Okay, I think this is going to crash. I'm just going to delete this. Okay. So that's one part of it, right? Make sure you don't need to have all that, you know, of all your selections first, right? Now I'm going back to bike. I will make sure you guys know how to create biped. Yes. Pose. No. Yes. Okay. When you're in figure mode, make sure you figure mode you're on off your auto key. Never ever go and move your hand unnecessarily, or make sure you have a copy. You save a copy. Alright, save file. So this is FIG, is basically figure. You save this for safety. Your T pose. You pose your, if your character is like that, your resting pose is like that, right? Make sure you save it. So once you have already set up everything, save it for your safety, right? Because the tendency of you having this, then I say, okay, I'll just take this even though your auto key is not on, you go and rotate. And then you keep on working. You're done. And then this is how your character is going to be. And then you go like, oh, shit, now I have to go back and put it back. Yeah, now this is hassle. And you have this open back outing. You have to explore. All this I explored myself. Okay? There's no one came and said, you know, dude, this is how you do. Nobody taught me like that. No one taught me about rigging. The only thing when I was working, the first job that I got was like I was my specialty was into lighting and modeling, background modeling. Character not that much, right? Again, my character is fast. Okay. So what happens is when I went in as an animator, basically I just sat there and said, okay, fine, my classmates all together, but I was not being soft. There was a technical guy coming from a freelancer. He was like, I watched my friends do the reading since they entered first, so they had to buy it, I entered the after that, it's like, no, the ability, I used to go there, how to do it. And then I know, this is a big task, maybe you could ask the technical director. I'm just helping, not just exactly what they have to explain. But when the technical guy comes in, asking, okay, what is this angle doing? What is this, the information is? Yeah, this one is very easy. Very easy at first. So I said, okay, fine. I take this as a challenge. Of course, I feel humiliated. I take challenge. What I did was I went back to him and every single day, every single scratch on scratch, every single button. The next round, I messaged, how to do this? So I was more confused. I started to tell you. So how to do this? If I have this two particular, if I and what now I want to join. If I want to blend it, how can I do this? Can it be done with this? I challenge lastly with this very close friend. Right? So it became very close friend, and eventually I managed to do this. And I mean, very happy. There wasn't any, grudges or whatever. He still taught me. Then after that, he started teaching me things, and eventually we became very close and so forth. And finally, we are still friends after today. So that's how everything started. So I took the challenge. It's up to you. I took the challenge. I went and did this, blah blah blah, and then you can do wonders with Biped. I can save this run, and then I save this walk. Right? This walk. And then I take this one. If I'm walking, then it's stretching. I take another hand, or whichever, all these poses, all this animation I do. Now I take all this animation, I mix it. That's where things change out. You know what I mean? He's walking, he has this one different, he's walking, then this one coming in, then everything goes in. So I mix. It is called mixer. So I'll show you eventually once we touch about animation. Well, animation there's a lot of things to start with. Alright, you are not gonna, you have to understand the basics of how to animate. Coming with me animation, you first thing you'll do is, if you want to learn from me, you must act. You must act. There's no way you cannot act. You say, hi, Shaila. You say, you go back. Simple? Express. Go crazy. That's how we do things. Alright, anyways, back to rigging. Okay, now I have set up my character, my biped, according to my model. Right, let's put this as bigger screen. Now you can see I have set up all my limbs. That's perfect. Yeah, the controller, basically this one. See this? This is my arm, this is my bicep area, this is my shoulder and so forth. Alright? It's just that I have shaped it in accordance to the size of my mesh. Why do I do it? It's not a necessity for you to do as big as that, but for me, I find this as better to do it like this. Make sure it's according to the size of the mesh, so that the envelope, basically the area, the radius of your strand on the particular deformation or the bone by itself is going to react. It's fully covered. You know what I mean? Then the rest extra you can later adjust it. But it's a lot more easier in that sense. Right? So for instance, that is done. Even the chest piece, I've already arranged it in proper. So I have a good bending. I have a nice intersections in between. Alright. The fingers. See, my fingers for this is a bit stylized. Alright. So eventually I'll do a bit round. But for this was more towards like it's more purposely done for merchandise. So I have this plastic toys like Transformers, all this Spawn, Superman, and so forth. That sort of style. So that's why it's a bit chamfered and it's a bit boxy. So I arranged everything. Like for instance, this guy here. Yeah. See, one, 2, 3. You have sections. Okay, number one thing you have to really understand. You don't have to mark it. Okay, anyways, number one thing you have to really understand is your bendings. Okay, every bending for organics, like for instance human and all that, your minimum is 3. Must be 3. It doesn't matter, minimum is 3 depending how you want to do it. Alright, so 1, 2, 3 to stretch. If this is connected, it's fine, because you're not going to do like that. If you're breaking, it's a different story. If you're just bending like that, this part expands, this part squeezes in, right? Stretches, squeezes, open up, squeezes, this still remains, right? The stretching part is only this area, so not that tough to understand. This is a normal anatomy. Alright, always remember that. Then once you have fixed, you're happy, done. Okay, your neck is proper. Make sure your head, this head is properly covered. Okay, now since you're happy, okay, go here, add physics. I go for physics. You have 2 types. One is skin, one is physics. I like physics because it's faster. Actually, skin you get a better result, right? So depends. So for the easier way, I'm teaching you physics. Skin you go pandai-pandai lah jadi. Okay? Oh shit. Sorry. Oops. Okay? Physics. You add. Now, see this? Attached to a knot. Do not go and click on this. before you do anything, you can have physics there, modifier. Don't go and link first. Okay. Before anything, make sure nothing is linked to the character. Make sure. If that match, this one you saw all that waves is coming out and everything, right? The points and all that. That is because there are links. You know what I mean? All that is links. So you don't want to have all that. You go back to manager, you open everything, see your controller, you can delete your controller and so forth. Alright? Come on. Okay. Off this, unlink this to the head and so forth. All this is now linked to the head, to the skeleton. Right? So I'll just off this for you guys. Okay. I'll off this also. I got physics for that, that's fine. Okay. Now I'll go back to this. Even the eye. This is one thing leche when you already have a character and then you have to re-rig back again. It's like I'm going back again, not again. You want to do the same thing again, blah blah blah. Even this, and then you now have this guy. I will off the bike. Now I go back to bike, form, pick the physics. See this attached to a knot. Alright, attached to a knot. Pick this, pick in the middle, or you can pick here also can. Alright, try not to pick in the middle, pick at your pelvis. Alright, either way, doesn't matter. Okay, so you do that. Now there's something is linked here, that's why this is coming out. So all these joints here, as you can see, that's basically your biggest vein. Alright, that's your biggest vein. All your interconnected veins, life. You have given life to that particular character. So anything that is connected to, like for instance a belt, here a belt has been attached to the pelvis. Okay, what is attached, then you see one link, it is linking to that because it indicates as one particular mesh. So we can forget about that. Like for instance this guy here, this is normal. Alright, whether you have mesh, you don't have mesh, the hands, the whole bicep, it will follow every single bones that you have. Anything extra off is something that is linked to the biped. Okay, so once you have this, we start from the head. Okay, happy. Alright, now first you identify what are the links that you don't want to use for that particular section. Alright, you identify first. So I'll go to links, point here. So you know how to do that, huh? So make sure under physics, attach. Okay. Who? Okay. But this is not been taught. Now this biped yes, but physics no. Yeah. So okay. So no, what I meant was the physics. You know how to link it, right? Attach to knot.